Now we're back with the leader. There's no real descent of Birdlip Hill. It climbs to a plateau, and that's a very difficult type of climb because the riders can't get going to bring the leader back. Aberdeen has settled in now, and I'm just wondering whether, Paul, this is a good move by McLaughlin to get a man away who is quite dangerous, don't forget. Only a minute behind overall, and if he gets far enough, then the Fago team are going to have to chase, and that'll help McLaughlin.
Well, that's exactly what they've done. As you can see, the gap is going away very quickly already. What they've done is to send away Aberdeen, who's well placed overall, with the hope of forcing the other teams to chase him down, harden the race up a little bit, so later on Joey McLaughlin, when we get to some of the later climbs, can try and surprise Malcolm Elliott.
We're racing ahead here to cross the gap, and it looks to me now as though it's getting over half a minute. The team cars are in, and the referees alongside. It's hard to break the habits of a lifetime, and here's the Frenchman riding on his own side of the road, thanks to the courtesy of the police forces of England and Wales. There we had a little bit of a confirmation of the gap, 26 seconds. It's a bit of work to be done yet, but let's not forget that this man is just over a minute behind the leader Elliott, in 15th place overall in this race. And now as we climb the second category hill here of Rodborough, this is a short climb, but you know, I think every bit as hard, if not harder, in fact, than the climb of Birdlip, which was given a first category rating. Judging by the face of this man, it's hurting a little bit as well. Very intelligent move this by the Z Peugeot team. Everybody's watching McLaughlin try and take a man from lower down the classification, send him away early and see what he can do. And right now he's doing it very, very well indeed.
Well, all eyes will be on Joey McLaughlin because he is the highest placed of the Z Peugeot team overall, and the idea is to leapfrog people up the general classification. So that's what they've done with Henri Aberdeen today on what is expected to be the hardest day of the Tour of Britain, the day when everybody's going to try and take that the last crack at taking the jersey off Malcolm Elliott.
Well, at the back of the group here, looks to me like Serge Demir, who won the stage the other day into Liverpool, was in trouble there on the climb. But of course, his stage victory this week in the bag, and he won't be too worried about that today. He'll finish somewhere in the main field, that's for sure. By the way, we lost 2 riders this morning who didn't start the race. We've already had news that 3 have given up, so it looks like a day that 1 or 2 are going to drop out. 5 gone so far today, and so that's bringing the field down to 66 at the moment from the original 80 who started. Well, the Cotswolds are looking very tough today, Paul, and the weather itself is not very friendly either. We're going through quite heavy rainstorms, and it is not at all pleasant for what should be, but in the countryside, one of the nicest days. This is the group here with Stephen Roach now being left to make the work here to bring back Aberdeen. He knows the danger. He's in charge of Elliott's destiny right now, so he's riding for the Fagor team. And of course McLaughlin playing the teammate now in second place.
Well, Joey McLaughlin up there in second place, he's not doing any work at all, and he's forcing the Fagor team to do all the work with the hope that they'll tire themselves out a little bit so that he can go over the top. And I think they're just pulling back here on Gianetti, who went away to climb to get the maximum climbers points again.
So Gianetti thinking of one thing, Aberdeen thinking of another. Gianetti in fact now on the climb of Rodborough, while further up we have the man that's causing all of the trouble. He's going over the top of this Preem Hill, that's what they call it, with the white line and the white flag on the top. He is working very hard. That's a face full of determination here. He's not just out for the odd mountain point, he is out to stay out in front as long as possible, and if possible all the way to the finish today. And Gianetti still finding the strength here to go well. He's made sure that today he came out fit and fighting on the early climbs. Over the top then, some idea of the height as we look across the fields there of the Cotswolds. One of my favourite parts of Great Britain, this, the Cotswolds, with its wonderful villages, its very short climbs, and for the touring cyclist, an absolute paradise. I'm not so sure about the racing cyclist though. Aberdeen keeping his rhythm nice and high. His lead is creeping up all the time, but they are taking this attack very seriously, and the Fagor boys are keeping him pegged. He is not pulling away very quickly. Over the week we've seen attacks go up and up and up to as much as 10 and 11 minutes. That most certainly isn't happening here. On the top of Rodborough then we've got Gianetti going over in second place. That's putting him in a very strong position now. Hodge gets the 3rd spot over the climb, and it's looking good now for Gianetti for that King of the Mountains title.
Well, it's definitely very good for Gianetti to pick up the points there, because looking back down the line there, I can't see Chris Lillywhite getting any points at all.
And look at this, it's hard work for Aberdeen. It's only creeping up, but it's now 37 seconds. It really isn't going anywhere at all. He's using a lot of energy to keep away from these riders. And this is Sean Yates here on the back of the chasing group. The main field continually now breaking up as we head on to Tippett's Hill.
Well, as we look back there, as Aberdeen's still in the front, really suffering if you look at his face here, but all he's thinking about is keeping away, so that hopefully the move will break up behind. And last time we saw that group, it looked as if there were only 20 riders in it, and Sean Yates was suffering a little bit at the back, so Malcolm Elliott is starting to become a little bit isolated, which is exactly what Joey McLaughlin and the Z Peugeot team want.
Well, it had to be today. What's up to Sean Kelly? He's pulled off the road there, called up his cast team. Kelly off his bike here on the climb, and most of the field will have seen him do that. So it looks as though he's getting a very quick change at the back of the race there. Possibly a puncture. The field know he's dropped down, and so they're going to put the pressure on even more now. This isn't going to help Aberdeen at all, because he will not be aware of what's happening back there at the moment. At least he's just trying to gain whatever time he can. So over the top then of Tippett's Hill today, another steep climb in the bag. He's really doing well in the mountains. And again, Paul, it's Gianetti. He's having an early start today and scoring well.
Well, he's gone for a long one again. He's pulling up all the points, because as Aberdeen's been away, he's finished second on two occasions. Aberdeen's too far down to be important. As we come up to the next one, he just accelerates a little bit away from Stephen Hodge there, I think it was, to get the maximum points again. So it looks as if he's taking a serious option on winning this competition overall.
Indeed he is, Paul, and I think he deserves it. He had a good challenge from Lillywhite early on, and more recently the late challenge by Sean Kelly, but today he really has come out fighting, and now he goes over the top of Tippett's Hill, his second place on the mountains today, all behind Aberdeen. There's confirmation, and Pensek is the rider in third spot. Well, Aberdeen now is lead going up all the time to 44 seconds. The next big town is Bath, and can he be in the lead? Join us soon.
Grey, heavy clouds surround the Cheddar Gorge as we welcome you back to day 5 of the Tour of Britain. We're 120 miles into this punishing 151-mile stage. The name Cheddar is thought to come from two Celtic words, ched meaning height and dwar meaning water. Well, water we've certainly seen in abundance so far. But one man who seems quite happy in the torrential rain is Mauro Gianetti. For the moment, he seems to have shaken off the threat of Sean Kelly to that title, King of the Mountains. Well, how will Gianetti get on through the gorge? It's 2 miles of winding road, taking him up to a height of 1,300 feet. A Category 1 climb, and thereafter there's 2 further Category 3 climbs. The riders still a few miles to come yet to this gorge. Let's go back now to Phil Liggett.
Well, Paul certainly gets around. This is the leader, though, who will soon be at the Cheddar Gorge, but at the moment he's still out heading for the city of Bath. Henry Aberdeen, who broke away on the climb of Birdlip, is now searching and has nearly got it. He wants 1 minute 3 seconds, in fact, to lead this race in yellow. Malcolm Elliott now and his Fagor team have to put in all of the effort. So this is a great move by Joey McLaughlin's Z Peugeot team, Paul.
Yes, but the pressure really is on the Fagor team as we go back up to the front and look at that for what the lead is now, 1 minute 57, and Aberdeen's well into that yellow jersey. It's really firmly on his shoulders at the moment.
Well, it means now that for the first time since this race began that we have a new leader, but only on the road, of course. There's still time for Malcolm Elliott's team to repair the damage. Aberdeen then into Bath with a lead of approaching 2 minutes. And it looks to me as though he is in fact now beginning to suffer. Breaking away at the 53 miles point today, by the way, and it's a long, long way. He's planning on a 98-mile breakaway if he's going to stay away to the finish. This is the chasing group then working hard at the sprint finish in the city of Bath. There's the confirmation of the TV time sprint. Nick Barnes, the sprint leader, taking that second place overall. And it looks as though Aberdeen is beginning to suffer now, or the reaction is rather rapid from the field. A minute 29, the gap now. Indeed, still in yellow. Is 1 minute 3 seconds was his deficit this morning since he left the beginning through the Roman city here now, as they thread the way across the Cotswolds heading out towards the Mendips. The rain, by the way, has been coming down very, very heavily indeed. The final feed station here, Roger Leger, the manager of Aberdeen, passing up the food for the last 50 miles or so to the finish. A long way to go, Paul.
Well, on a stage as long as this, it's very important to get the bags as the leads come down now, as we're talking, Phil, to 105. He's still got the yellow jersey, but only by 2 seconds.
Yes, it might well be, Paul. He never really intended to get a lead of personal importance. It's more to make the other riders from the Fagor team chase him, and hopefully that they'll all come together, giving McLaughlin the springboard. Just look at these crowds here as we now race through Wells. Anybody that knows the cathedral here will also know the swans that live there too, and even toll the bell. And now we are leaving Wells onto the Cheddar Gorge. This beautiful climb. It starts very, very steeply indeed. He's holding on now because for the last few miles he's preserved all of his lead at 1 minute and 5 seconds. He's doing a marvellous job here for McLaughlin. He's giving him the springboard he should make use of on this climb, you know, as he now begins to suffer on the first category climb of the Cheddar Gorge. This is the last serious climb before Bristol will loom over the horizon. There is the main field, what's left of it today. Some 36 riders have formed to chase down, hopefully for them, Henri Aberdeen.
Yes, and as you can see, the group just going through the gorge there. It's been a fantastic move by the Z Peugeot team as we go back to Aberdeen, who's visibly suffering a little bit now. He's starting to rock his shoulders, but he's been out here for a long time. If he can get over the top of this climb of the Cheddar Gorge with a good 30 seconds lead, he can go down the descent, which is very, very dangerous, and maybe stay in front up to Bristol.
Well, maths was never my strong point, Paul, but I make it about 66 miles in the lead for Aberdeen at the moment, and he's never really got out of sight of this pack, you know. I mean, just on 2 minutes is nothing. That's how serious this pack has taken the attack by Aberdeen. Nobody was going to slip too far away from them. I'm so amazed, though, that this group has stayed together. These 13 riders seem to be proving totally inseparable rather, as they go up the climb here. They're watching each other's every move. Aberdeen now feeling all the pain of the Tour of Britain.
Well, as Sean Yates likes to describe the expression on this rider's face at the moment, he's got a full mask on. He's got the mask of pain as he's struggling to get up to the top of this climb. As we go back to the bunch, and you can see it's the Fagor team all the time keeping the pressure on, and there you've got Malcolm Elliott with Joy McLaughlin close in attendance, waiting for his moment to pounce if he can over the top of this climb.
Britain's own version there, the Angel of the Mountains, Robert Miller, setting the pace for the Fagor team, this little man who has so much power in his legs when the roads go steeply uphill. And our helicopter getting the best view, as always, as he looks down on another wonderful crowd that is following us around the country here all week. Marvellous crowds turning out, and we know you're enjoying the show because you keep on telling us, and we all appreciate that. Well, Aberdeen then on the climb. He is really now suffering quite considerably. News reaching us all the time that the lead is now beginning to tumble down rather rapidly. The last time check we've got, which wasn't long before this corner, was in fact just a shade over 30 seconds. So you see the attacks here now by the Fagor boys and by the PMS riders. That looks like Mike Doyle at the front here on the left of the picture. They too are trying to chase down the leader.